Okay, so some news here on Monday. It was coming up with Monday being the deadline for qualifying offers. We knew one way or another we were about to find out what the Mariners were going to do with Teoscar Hernandez. And we debated this on one of our previous shows about which way would they lean. We had differentiating opinions on this. If you want to call it a victory lap, I guess I can take like a semi-little victory lap. But how about this? I'd way rather be right saying the Mariners are going to get Shohei. Then I'll actually take a victory lap.
Okay.
For not giving Teoscar Hernandez the qualifying offer, I kind of just shrugged. So they did not give it to him. The Mariners decided they did not want to give Teoscar the offer of a year deal for $20.5 million on the table. As a result, Hernandez is going to hit free agency. We'll see where he goes next. I guess there's still a possibility of a reunion in Seattle, but it seems unlikely. How did we get here to this front office in Seattle saying we are not going to give Teoscar the qualifying offer? Well, I'll ask you, are you surprised that this is the result they came to?
I am surprised. So if I look at this initially, I'm going to say they thought there was a semi-good chance he would take this, which, we don't know what Teoscar's market is going to be, right? Now, I don't know if we have a clear picture, especially the season he just came off of. I'm not sure exactly where he wants to play. Does he want to go back to the East Coast, or is he open to go play wherever? The other thing here, what would make this the most valuable is if the Mariners extended Teoscar the qualifying offer, he declined it, and then he went and signed for over $50 million based on the Mariners being a revenue-sharing recipient opposed to a revenue-sharing giving team. They took in money from the revenue-sharing pool last season in 2022, and we're expecting them in 2023 to be in that same group. So if he signs for over $50 million, they get the first-round pick. Do you think Teoscar would have gotten $50 million with a qualifying offer attached to him?
There is a chance, but I think the Mariners view Teoscar Hernandez the same way I viewed him when we talked about him just recently. And I said, I don't think they even want to take the chance of offering him $20.5 million. I think we know their payroll is limited despite John Stanton having money, and they should absolutely open up the checkbook. But that's a conversation for basically any other time on any other episode because we talk about it all the time. I think Jerry Dipoto knows that his spending might be limited this winter, and they're trying to invest their resources wisely. And one of those pads may not be Teoscar Hernandez. Because let me ask you this. The Mariners' whole mantra is draft, develop, and trade, right? Jerry Dipoto loves his draft picks. Do you really think that if Jerry thought they had an opportunity to get either a first or second round pick for Teo, they would shy away from that? I think if he thought Teoscar was going to decline the QO, they'd give it to him because then, yes, you get a draft pick. I mean, does that make sense? Is that fair?
It does, but let me reframe my question again. Do you think he would have gotten $50 million on the open market with the qualifying offer? Because that's where the real value is. I don't know, if the Mariners are like, we could probably survive without a second round pick, so we don't want to risk it. Okay, so that would be them thinking we're expecting them to get we're expecting the free agent market to give less than $50 million to Teoscar, which is entirely possible. He could sign a 3-year deal for like $45 million, essentially out somewhere else if you wanted to. But that would only yield the Mariners a comp B pick at the end after the second round. Now, if they thought his market would be over $50 million, then they would offer it to him. And they get the first round pick. But if they thought there was a chance that he could, that he would accept it, or they didn't think he was going to get $50 million on the open market, those are two decent reasons that you would not offer him that. And one of those could entirely be possible, along with your thing that maybe the $20 million is really eating up a lot of that offseason budget. And if Teoscar were to take that would throw a real wrench in things. Very real possibility. We are, with this deal, when we see this, and we see this getting declined, it's like, okay, well now, this money needs to go get used. And used all of it, probably, right? $20 million probably will, pay a little bit more for Blake Snell, but you go out there and use this money to go get other players. Yeah. Right decision. Absolutely. It frees you up to go sign a top free agent. Yeah, go for it. But, we sit here at the end of the 2023 offseason and the Mariners end up with what they had in 2022, then you and I are sitting here kind of raising our eyebrow at this, and Teoscar Hernandez goes and signs a deal worth $70 million. And then we're really wondering what the process with this was. I kind of went all over the place with that, but there's a lot of things to think about there. I don't think I'm too heartbroken that they didn't offer it to him. I thought there was some upside there. But overall, what really matters now is what they do. Now that they have this cleared out, like what is next? What do they do? What is next on the list?
Okay, let me try to respond to all those points here. Number one, to finally answer your question, I do think there is a chance Teoscar gets $50 million on the market. I don't think it's enough of a chance where the Mariners said we are still comfortable giving him the qualifying offer. Again, they talk to Teoscar's agent. Of course they do. They're in front offices and agents are in talks all the time. I am sure they gauged some idea of where they were leaning. And if they thought, under no circumstance are we taking the qualifying offer, we're hitting free agency, we're going to see what we get out there, they would have offered it. Why in the world would the Mariners turn down a high draft pick? Of course they want more draft picks. So I do think there was a chance that the Mariners thought Teoscar would get $50 million in free agency, and he might. I don't think it's enough of a chance where they said 100%, let's give him the QO, whatever happens, happens. I don't think they wanted to give $20.5 million to a player whose strikeout rate is way over 30%, does not walk, didn't have the season they were projecting for him, and put up less than 2 wins. That's not worth $20.5 million. So that's number one. Number two, to double down on what you said. Oh yeah, they better go take that $20.5 million and spend it somewhere else. Because if they don't, there's going to be problems. We already talked about players are pissed off, fan base is getting antsy, and it is furious already. Some of the fan base is furious already. They better go take that money and use it wisely. Not just use it, but use it wisely. Think about it like this, and maybe this is stupid boy math here, but I'm going to try to spin some logic into this. If you take that $20.5 million and try to use it to Blake Snell, well, that's actually, you can think about it like this. Maybe we only have to pay Blake Snell $5 million in addition to our original budget. And maybe this makes no sense because what I'm trying to get at this with my dumb boy math.
I understand it, Lyle.
Okay. My dumb boy math being, if you were going to give Teoscar the qualifying offer and then you had to go add Blake Snell, that could have been $45 million in payroll. Well, if you go pay Blake Snell, I don't know, $26, $27 million, let's call it 27. That's $6.5 additional million in payroll. That's not that much, John Stanton. That's not that much. Then you might have already had to have given to Teoscar in the first place. So take that money and a whole lot more. Go use it, dude. Like, go sign marquee free agents and make some big trades with it. Because the one thing that's unacceptable here is to eat that payroll. Because if that's what they do, then I would sit here and say, then yeah, they should have just given it to Teoscar Hernandez. So go spend.
And it's not even just spending. You're going to have to add payroll if you trade for notable pieces because notable pieces cost money. Like in the 3 to 5% chance world, the Mariners trade for Juan Soto. That's a price tag of what's his final year of arbitration worth? $30 million?
It'll be something close. Luis Roberts going to cost a ton if he's in arbitration. Vladdy would cost a ton if he's in arbitration. All those guys are going to cost a ton of money.
Yeah, and you take on all of that salary if you're trading for them. So it's not just the free agents. The free agents are nice. There are free agent fits out there, but it's everything. And man, this budget better not only be about $20 million. It better not, because then you can't afford any of those. Overall, though, again, not too heartbroken about Teoscar. I'm probably out on re-signing him now. If you weren't going to give him the qualifying offer, and like it would have to be like $10 million. It would have to be.
I'm going to double down on what I said the last time we talked about Teo on the pod, which is I think the only way they'd be open to re-signing him, and probably the only way I'm open to re-signing him, is if it starts to get late in the offseason. The Mariners have swung and missed on some free agents. They haven't made too many big trades. Teoscar still hasn't signed. Then maybe you circle back and say, okay, what kind of 2 to 3 year deal for somewhere between $12 to $15 million AAV can we work out here? If it gets to that point, yeah, I'd be open to bringing him back, but not right now. Right now, there are bigger fish to fry than Teoscar Hernandez for the Mariners.
Well, best of luck, Teo, to whatever you find out there on the free agent market.